what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for checking out my new ranking video. And of course, as you can probably tell, this video I will be ranking the Child's Play franchise. This will not be including the 3 seasons of the Chucky series. Uh, First and foremost, I'll just go ahead and let everyone know I am not a fan of the Chucky series. I've watched the complete first season, tried to make it through the second one, and just gave up. I'll just be honest with you. I did not care what they're doing with the Chucky character, where they brought the character. Don't like even the characters in the actual TV series. I just feel like the kids are annoying, and it's just now to me it's just gone too far out there to where it's just not even horror anymore. It's just more of a comedy, and they've from where they took Chucky from the original Child's Play to where he is now, I'm just not a fan. I will say it was cool to see Brad Dourif come back and actually be, Charles Lee Ray. I think that's cool to always see him come back and act, but I'm just not a fan of that series. So I didn't even, like I said, finish the second season. Did not even watch the third one. Just some highlights, but I don't think it'd be fair for me to actually try to rank those because, I know I would just give them negative rankings. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the ranking. Coming in at dead last, coming in at number 8, should not be any surprise to any Chucky fan. It is Seed of Chucky. This film is an abomination to the Child's Play franchise. Unpopular opinion. This is just my opinion. I love Bride of Chucky, but to me, after that one, they should have not made either any more of them. Dealing with Tiffany Valentine, because to me, I almost feel like Jennifer Tilly has ruined this series. I know that's an unpopular opinion. I know she is a fan favorite, but that is one of the things that threw me off of the Chucky series that's been coming on now for 3 seasons, is it's not even really a lot about Chucky anymore to me. It's more about Jennifer Tilly and Tiffany Valentine. And I don't know. I feel like her character was good in Bride of Chucky, but watching Seed Chucky on, I just wish they would have wrote her out. I'm not a big fan of hers after Bride of Chucky, but this movie right here was complete garbage. I remember when it first come out, I was so excited to watch it because, like I said, it was a new Chucky film. And within 20 minutes of this film, I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. And I should have known by the casting. Jennifer Tilly is playing Jennifer Tilly. Red Man is Red Man. I just didn't like the characters in this movie. And then once they reveal Tiffany and Chucky's son Glenn, he's annoying. I mean, it's just the entire film is trash. I mean, I really can't think of any cool scenes in this film, any kills that stand out to me. The one-liners are horrible. The acting is horrible. This is nothing but a straight comedy film, no horror whatsoever. And I just wish that this film never existed, but I feel like when they did Curse of Chucky, they just kind of pushed this one to the side, which is what they should have done in the first place. But anyway, that's why this film is coming in dead last. Okay, now coming in at number 7, and I will go ahead and mention that from this point on, I do enjoy the films. Seed of Chucky is the only one that I really never watch again. I can't stand it. So now from number 7 to number 1, I still like the films. So coming in at number 7 is the 2017 Cult of Chucky. I will say, watching this film, I did enjoy the new aspect of how Chucky can manipulate and he can move from one doll to another. I did kind of like that idea. Do I feel like they took it too far in the Chucky series? Yes, I do. But I like them sticking with the original Charles Lee Ray doll. But I did feel like this was a breath of fresh air. I thought it separated itself from the other films. I like I guess you call it the institution setting, the hospital setting, whatever you want to call it. And of course, Fiona Dwarf, Brad's daughter, she plays Nika. She does a fantastic job. She is a wonderful actress, and she really took the ball with this one and ran with it. She truly is a leading actress. Like, I could feel like she could be one of the next Scream Queens because she does a phenomenal job. And of course, with her who her father is, they've got good genes, I guess, good acting genes. Really, it was cool to see Alex Vincent return, which we saw him return at the end of Curse of Chucky. But I was glad that he had a little bit bigger role in this one. Not He wasn't like the main character, but I like the fact that he still had the head from Curse of Chucky from the end of that, and I like the fact that his stepsister, she's back in this film. Not very much, just at the end of it, but again, this one balanced out the creepiness and the comedy. It wasn't perfect, but it did balance it out to where, like I said, I can still put this in and watch it and get a kick out of it. But it's not one of my favorites. But one of the death scenes that really stuck out to me was Claire. She's tied to this bed, and I can't remember why she can't feel anything. I don't remember if Chucky put something in her or if one of the nurses did. I can't remember. But then one of the Chucky dolls comes in there, and he's got like this tank, and right above her is a glass ceiling. And the setup to it, the build up to it, I thought was really good. And then, when Chucky drops it and it goes up to the glass ceiling and it shatters, you can see a tear come to her eyes, and the glass is just coming down on her, and slow motion, and boom, it just stabs her, decapitates her, I believe. That was one of the kill scenes that I was like, that's awesome. That's why Chucky still to this day stands out, because of his creative kills. I really enjoy that. But yeah, Cult of Chucky, I really enjoyed. Like I said, I liked how the doctor, you didn't know whether to trust him or not in the film. But then, slowly but surely, you do realize that he's a crooked doctor. And like when he hypnotizes Fiona, and like I said, not Fiona, I'm sorry. Well, that's the actress, Nika. Like I said, I feel like it wrapped up pretty good. And then, of course, the cliffhanger where the Chuckies keep Andy in the room. They lock him in. And then there's one bald-headed Chucky, and then there's one that he's missing an arm, but he's got a drill, and his hair's all messed up. I still enjoy the film. It just, to me, I think what rubs me the wrong way as far as, I guess, why this is ranked number 7 is because what it led to, and that is the Chucky series. Because, like I said, I did like how he could manipulate, and like I said at the beginning, possess other dolls, but I don't like how when there was too many, because the whole point of the original movie was Charles Lee Ray knew he's fixing to die, and he put his soul into one doll. And, if that's the case, then this whole entire series, why did he not, when this body was getting too, real, how he had to transfer his soul, why didn't he not just jump from doll to doll or something like that? I don't know. Like I said, it just kind of, it's a refresher, definitely. But yeah, that's why this is coming in at number 7, because it wasn't the best Child's Play film or Chucky film, whatever you want to call it. But like I said, I can still put it in and enjoy it. Okay, coming in at number 6 is the 2019 Child's Play remake. I've heard a lot of people hate on this movie, and I am not a big fan of a lot of remakes. I don't feel like you have to do so many remakes. It's like, to me, Hollywood runs out of ideas. And I remember when they first announced this, that they were doing a remake, and Brad Dourif was not coming back to reprise his role as Chucky. I was like, oh man. I was like, how's this going to go down? But I will say they picked a very good voice actor and actor to replace Brad in this movie, and that was Mark Hamill. Of course, everybody knows him as Luke Skywalker. I personally know him as the Joker. I love his portrayal of the Joker. I love his voice acting skills. But I did like the fact that if you're going to do a remake, it's almost like I said with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 remake, make it your own film. And I feel like they did this. They didn't have it where there was a Charles Lee Ray who was fixing to die. He got shot by the officers and transported his soul into a doll. They didn't do any of that. I like how it was manipulated to where they were putting out these buddy dolls at the beginning of the film, and one of the guys, I guess I don't really know the wording to say, but he pretty much manipulated the buddy doll to where its only job was to protect Andy, and no matter what cost, it didn't have any like feelings or nothing like that. I thought that was a new and inventive concept of how to do the Child's Play storyline. We have Gabriel Bateman as Andy, which I think this kid's a phenomenal actor. He was also in one of my favorite films, Unhinged. I think he's a really good actor. I think that if you were going to pick somebody to be the new Andy Barkley, there you go. He's really good, and I thought he brought the right emotions to this character. We also have Aubrey Plaza. Uh, she's one of my favorite actresses because I loved her in Parks and Recreation. But she is playing his mom, Karen. Once again, great casting choice. She is a great actress. Love what she brought to the role. She really knows how to play uh, the how would you say the single mom role, as far as she can turn the emotions really quick. Like you see where she's got the boyfriend and she's wanted some alone time with him, but then she understands that she's a single mom and that her son, is going through some stuff and he's needing some attention as well. But when it's time to be the sweet, sensitive mom, and then when it's time to be the disciplinary and all that stuff, I think she can switch it really good, if that makes any sense. I just think, like I said, that her acting really showed in this movie and in the intense moments, like toward the end when she's got her mouth duct taped and the Chucky doll is bringing her up, her facial expressions, because with her having duct tape on her mouth, she's not really verbally being able to express any feelings, but the way she uses her eyes and that scene where it's raising her up and Andy's tripping out because he's seen his mom going up. Yeah, she and Andy, they both played off each other very well. So I think that was perfect casting for the mom and son role. We also have another actor that I really like is Brian Henry. He plays Mike. Now I know Brian Henry. Of course, yes, this film came out first, but when I went back to revisit this film, I was like, hey, he's from Godzilla versus Kong, and then Godzilla X Kong. I think he's a good actor. Uh, what he's really good at is the one-liners, and he's good at bringing the feel-good moments in films because he can be really serious when it needs to be serious, but he always brings the lighthearted characters to the film. And I really feel like he knows his roles and he does a great job. What he brought to the film was how he was so kind to Andy, and then when it came down toward the end, when he couldn't figure out if it was Andy or not. I mean, he really switched that "I'm your friend" role to "No, you're going down." Because I think it was his mom that he thought Andy killed. Um, but yeah, like I said, his acting is awesome. The cast in this entire movie, I thought did a good job. Especially like one of my favorite scenes is it's Karen's boyfriend. His death scene I thought was great, and then of course, like uh, I like the dynamic between Chucky or Buddy, whatever you want to call him, and Andy. Uh, I like how they played off each other very well, and if the one of the creepiest spots in the film to me was where Andy wakes up and he looks over at Chucky's just standing in the corner and just watching him with them red eyes. Um, because all Chucky knows in this film is to protect Andy. And I'm a cat person, so when he kills the cat, I'm like, oh man, but the cat hurt him. But it's just little stuff like that he couldn't. The Chucky doll could not comprehend that the cat didn't mean to hurt Andy, but his job is to protect Andy. Uh, the finale is a great finale. I'm not gonna lie, I would have went and supported part two of this because, like I said, I did enjoy it. Uh, a couple things that I didn't care for necessarily was the look of the Buddy doll. I don't know. It just there were certain times like where they were trying to make him smile and stuff. It just didn't fit right. And then again, maybe we're all spoiled and we're used to this guy right here, but um, I don't know. Like I said, there was just a couple negative things like that, and um, I thought it was unique how he could control like the drones and stuff when they're in the store. But then again, um, that's just another dynamic to uh, remaking this from the original Child's Play. I say remaking, I'll say separating itself. So, like I said, I do enjoy this film. I'll pop it in every once in a while. I don't think it deserves the hate that a lot of people gave it, but that's just my opinion. So, all right, let's move on to the next one. All right, coming in at number 5 is Child's Play 3. Um, this film right here, I like the army setting. I like the boot camp setting. Um, I'm not sure. Haven't done my homework, but I'm not sure why they didn't get Alex Vincent to come back and reprise his role as Andy. Maybe he was still too young, but I will say the actor Justin Whalen, I thought did a good job. I do remember watching this film when I was younger. I thought that was actually the little boy. I thought that was Alex Vincent just grown up, but they do have the similar facial expressions. They do kind of figure look like each other with the dark hair and the eyes and stuff. Um, but I didn't think that he did injustice to the role because I do, like I said, like this movie, but it was just little things about the film that I didn't necessarily care for the decisions, like the Sergeant Botnick thing. I didn't really care for that, where he was walking around grabbing their hair and, and he was like, I'll see you Tuesday. You come around here at whatever. And then, he gets the Chucky doll and he's going to start doing the haircut on the Chucky doll and all this stuff. That was a little silly to me. Um, I didn't really like the whole dynamic between Andy and his girlfriend in this movie. I don't even know if they were girlfriend and boyfriend at the beginning, but um, I don't know. I did like that they took the focus off of Andy as far as when Chucky delivered himself to the base, when he busted out. When Tyler opened the box up and he's looking at Chucky, and all of a sudden Chucky just boom comes through. I thought that was a good jump scare, but I do like how when he would cuss in front of Tyler, Tyler would be like, Charles, we don't talk like that. He never called him Chucky. He'd always say Charles. I did like that. And then even Chucky makes a reference in it where he's like, would you quit calling me Charles? He gets mad about it. But I do like this movie. It's just a different environment with the Army base. And I do like the paintball scene where they're going to go out and they actually and Chucky was putting live rounds in on one of the teams. I thought that the kid, Whitehurst, I thought that he did a good job. He played the scared, nerdy type that didn't really belong there. But then at the end, you say what you want to say. I say he was a hero when he seen that Chucky threw the grenade and he looked around and he was like, look out. And he shoved people out of the way and he dove on it. I thought that was a good death scene and a good way to where he finally showed that he had courage and to protect his teammates. The ending with the carnival, man, I like the chase scene. I love when Chucky gets half his face cut off, man. You can see like the veins and the muscle tissue on half his face. Love that look of Chucky. I really wish they would have kept that look in Bride of Chucky, but I get, he was in the fan and he got all chopped up and stuff. But yeah, I still, like I said, enjoy the movie. There's just, like I said, little dynamics that I do wish that Andy Barkley was played by Alex Vincent. Like I said, the kid didn't do bad. But overall, I just kind of feel like this was a TV movie, if that makes any sense, in my opinion. The first two was so iconic, and this one, to me, kind of felt like it was made for TV. If that makes any sense, that's just my opinion. Okay, coming in number 4 is Curse of Chucky. I really enjoy this movie. When I found out they were coming out with a new Chucky movie after that horrible seed of Chucky, I was like, oh man, I was like, how are they going to do this? Because by this time, with Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky, they had already went that comedic role, and I was like, what are they going to do? When I saw the trailer of this, I was like, oh, maybe they're going back to the roots. And I will say I was not disappointed. I enjoyed this film. It was back to being a horror movie. And of course, this is the first one that we're uh, introduced to Fiona Dorff, which she plays Nika. Like I said in the other one, Curse of Chucky, her acting is phenomenal. I think she really showed her star power in this movie. Then we also have Jennifer Tilly as Tiffany Valentine again, but I'm glad she was out of it until the end. I could have done with her not even being in the movie. Like I said, I think it needs to strictly focus on Chucky, but she's a fan favorite. I get it. We also got Danielle Pizzuti as Barb, and I've met her before. She's a sweet person, just a sweetheart, and I know her from Insidious Chapter 2, but I think she is also a great actress. And how she played the role in this movie, as far as she was cheating on her husband with the nanny, but she was playing that uppity type where she didn't believe anything that Nika was telling her, and I don't know, she just played the role very well. Of you knew something was off about her, but then again, you didn't know exactly if you could trust her or not. But I did like her character in this movie, and her death scene was phenomenal. And that's what got my interest in the trailer, is when she's up in the attic and she finally finds Chucky, and she looks at him, and Chucky's just sitting there looking wide eyed, and she starts peeling off some of the plastic. Well, you could see like the stitching from Bride of Chucky. I thought that was cool, and then she starts to put her finger in his mouth, and he just snaps at her. I love it. The Like I said, her death scene, the whole knife in the eye grows, and then the eye is bouncing down, where Nika's down there at the end of the steps, and it's just bouncing down. Like I said, they brought Chucky being scary again. They brought back horror in the Child's Play franchise, in my opinion. And one thing that I really enjoy about this movie is how they brought back Brad Dourif to reprise his role as Charles Lee Ray. You see him looking younger, and he's got the long brown hair. And Chucky finally explains to Nika how he is in her life, and now you realize that Chucky's the one, or Charles Lee Ray's the one that caused her to be paralyzed. I like how, like I said, in this movie, they connected all the dots. They connected, and really made it actually make sense, in my opinion, on how the films are connected. So I really, like I said, Curse of Chucky, I think, is underrated. I really like it, and I did like the fact that it just didn't show Chucky running around, because it went back almost to the basics of the first two Child's Play films, especially the first one, is where anytime you would see Chucky, he was just sitting there. And now he's got a new girl, Alice. Now he's talking to her, and he's trying to get into her body, possess her body. I'll put it that way, make it sound better. Um, and it almost goes back to where it's kind of like, well, is he manipulating her to do this, or is he doing this? Uh, but overall, I just feel like they wanted to almost kind of reset from that Seed of Chucky and say, all right, what can we do to get this franchise back on the map? And I think they succeeded with this one. So yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite Chucky movies, and this is one that I have no problem popping in and watching, because, like I said, I enjoy it from start to finish. Oh, and the final scene with Nika and Chucky, the final fight between them with the whole elevator going up and with her being paralyzed, I thought that was actually a unique idea to make the leading role, the leading character, handicapped from the waist down, to where, like, even when Chucky's running with her in the wheelchair and knocks her over the balcony, and she lands hard on that first floor, and then when Chucky tries to stab her, and she just puts her leg up and it goes into her leg and she can't feel it. They used that to their advantage. They used it very well, very well writing in this movie. Okay, down to the final three, and then coming in at number three is the 1998 Bride of Chucky. I had to really figure out if I wanted to do Bride of Chucky or Curse of Chucky, and kind of flipped them back and forth. Uh, but overall, Bride of Chucky, I remember watching this in 1998, absolutely loved it. It still had enough cool death scenes, and this is where they started bringing in a little bit of the comedy humor in it, but it wasn't overwhelming. It was almost to me like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, where they balanced out the horror and they balanced out the comedy. And I feel like they did that well with Bride of Chucky. Uh, I do know it gets a little cheesy, of course, the sex scene between two dolls with Tiffany and Chucky. But to me, I feel like the cast did a great job. The two leading characters, um, Jade and Jesse, I like their story. I like the backstory. I love the love story with them. How it's almost like a Romeo and Juliet, in my opinion. Uh, how Jade's uncle does not want her to go with Jesse, and he'll do anything to stop them, even having his deputy watch him. And of course, her uncle is played by the late great John Ritter. Was a great actor. Rest in peace. He played Chief Warren, and he played that man. He played that role so perfect. He's like I said, he's another great actor that man. He could play the wholesome father and the loving uncle, loving brother, whatever you want to say. But boy, if he wanted to be the villain, he could play a great villain. And his death scene in this movie, with all the nails going into his face, looks like Pinhead. I wonder if that's really where they got that inspired from. I don't know, but I think the casting was really good in this movie. I think this movie has one of the best openings of any of the Chucky films. I love the fact that it shows like the evidence locker, and you see Jason's mask, you see Michael Myers' mask, Freddy's glove, you see a chainsaw, and you see the officer go and get a black bag, and he's looking into it. The camera shots are really good in this movie. I like how the when he's looking in the bag, the camera shot is coming up from the trash bag. And this is where we finally get introduced to Jennifer Tilly's character, Tiffany Valentine, and the whole iconic where she kills the officer. She gets the filing nail. She's sitting there doing her filing her nail. She licks the blood off, and then all of a sudden that camera shot where it's right on Tiffany's face, and she brings up Chucky's face, and she says the classic line,
"Well, hello, Dolly."
Classic '90s. I think that's one of the best openings, and I like the whole where she's stitching them up. She's getting the different body parts to make Chucky back to I guess you could say, a full doll. Um, but anyway, then we get introduced to Alexis Arquette. Um, he is Damien in the movie, and he comes in to talk to Tiffany, and he's like talking about he finally did it, and he shows her pictures of a dead body, and she's like, "Who is he?" And he mean, "Who was he?" You know, he's like trying to brag. He's all gothic looking. And then she realizes, she's like, "Hey, I noticed the fingernail polish on it." And he kind of looks, he's like, "Crap." And she realizes that it was him, that he tried to make it look like he actually killed somebody, but he didn't have the guts to do it. But I like how she's got the book and it says like voodoo for dummies and stuff. And she's got the Chucky doll laying, I guess it was on a pentagram or something. And I just like the whole concept. It was almost like a Frankenstein movie. How she had the candles and she was saying the phrases. The only thing she didn't do was the lightning, of course. But the whole death scene where she ties him to the bed because she realizes Chucky's gone. Finally, when she realizes it works, and she ties Damien to the bed, and she's like, she puts Chucky on his chest, and she's kind of like doing a little uh, seductive dance for both of them, but she's doing it for Chucky. And Damon's like, he can't satisfy you. And she's like, he was always jealous. And all of a sudden, Chucky's head just slowly turns all around. He goes, "It ain't the size that matters." You know, I love that. And he just puts the pillow on Damien's face and just sits on it while he suffocates. But right off the bat, like I said, I love the first 15-20 minutes of this movie. I think it's so entertaining. It's so good. Uh, Overall, The kill scenes are really good in this movie. I love the storyline. Like I said, you've got not only Chucky and Tiffany's, but you've got Jesse and Jade's storyline. Um, to me, there's not really any boring scenes in the movie. It's well paced, well written. Camera shots are good. Overall, I love this movie. I think it still holds up. Like I said, if you want to have a good time, definitely watch Bride of Chucky. I just wish that when they killed Tiffany at the end of it, when she, of course, she got burnt in the oven and all that stuff. And I wish they would have never shot the officer going over the detective and tapping her to where all of a sudden her belly was, bubbling up and she shot out that kid. I wish they'd have never ended with that. I wish they would have ended it. I love when Chucky's like, go ahead, shoot. I always come back. And he's like, but Diane is a, you know what? And they shoot him. I wish that's how it would have ended, with him hitting that top of that casket and he slides down to his corpse. Perfect shot. Wish that was how they would have ended that movie. Never brought in no more of Tiffany. Never would have brought in Glenn, their kid. That was a perfect way, in my opinion. And then if they ever wanted to do Curse of Chucky, they could have figured out how to bring him back. Of course, they're always going to do a sequel no matter what. But I thought that would have been a great ending until Tiffany had the baby. But anyway, I still love the movie. Still think it holds up. Okay, down to the final two, and coming in at number 2 is the original Child's Play. Yeah, this is it. This is the movie that kicked off the entire Chucky franchise, and what a way to do it. This movie, perfect writing, great camera shots, great story. Kudos to everyone in this movie. Great casting. We've got Alex Vincent as Andy Barkley. We got Catherine Hicks as Karen, who I wish would have continued to be in the series. Would have loved her to see her come back in part 3, part 4. Just love her acting, and I thought she is the main character in this movie. That she brought so much heart and soul to this movie. I really wish she would have come back for the other films. And we also have Chris Sedarian as Mike. Once again, he did a great job. Love his acting. I love him especially. I've known him from Princess Bride as Humperdinck, and thought he brought a lot to this movie. I like how at the beginning where he's chasing Brad Dourif, aka Charles Lee Ray, and I love that whole opening scene, how he actually did shoot Charles Lee Ray, and Charles knows he's fixing to die. He runs into the toy store and he knocks over this Chucky doll, or the good guy doll, and he puts his soul into the doll because he doesn't want to die and go to hell, so he puts his soul into the Chucky doll. And of course, as he's saying the what would you call it, the ritual, as he's saying the words, the thunder and lightning is coming around the building. All of a sudden, it just boom, it shoots down and blows Officer Mike out of the store. Fantastic opening to the movie. The acting with Alex Vincent being that young, man, he did such a good job. You really feel for this mom and son. I can't remember what they said where the father was, but the storyline with this mom wanting to give her son everything that she can. She works at like a mall or something, and it's her and her good friend Maggie, and it's her son's birthday, and he's into the Good Guy TV show. It shows him making his mom breakfast, with the burnt toast and everything. And just this little boy who's excited for his birthday, and he's looking over, and we can all relate. He's looking over and he sees those presents, and then he looks back at the TV and he sees the Good Guy doll, and he's like, yeah, that's what he's thinking's in there. But I just feel like they really captured the sentimental and emotional aspect of this single mom trying to support her and her son and give her son everything. A lot of heart in this movie. Like I said, as far as Chucky, they really built on, is it Chucky doing this killing or is it Andy? And I know, of course, we know it's Chucky, but they really played that off very well to where you don't really know if it's Andy doing this stuff, and because he's just having mental issues, or maybe he feels like the Chucky dolls talk to him, or if it's really Chucky. And the first death scene is when his Aunt Maggie is watching him, and you know, uh, Chucky is moving around the apartment. You don't ever see him moving. He'll be in the living room, and she's like, "I told you to put your doll up," and he's in there brushing his teeth, and he's like, "Aunt Maggie, Chucky wants to watch the news," and she's like, "No," Um, and then of course, the big build up to Maggie's death, to where she's in the kitchen, and when she turns around, all of a sudden, somebody's in the kitchen with her, but you just see a hammer coming, pop her, and she falls out of the window of their apartment and just falls to her death. Good death scene. Um, like I said, for Alex Vincent being that young, he did such an amazing job. Also, we got the scene where Chucky's wanting to go see. I I know his name is Doctor Death. That's the one that taught Charles Lee Ray all about the voodoo stuff and everything. I love his death scene, to where Chucky goes to him and he's like trying to get answers of how he gets out of this body, and he's like, "You gotta transfer your soul to the first person you ever told about who you are, about your truth." And he's like, "You mean I'm going to be stuck in this body?" I love that whole scene, and even to the part where you find out that Doctor Death was teaching him about voodoo, but it wasn't for evil. You know, it's his religion. And Chucky makes that little voodoo doll of him, and he snaps his leg, and his leg snaps in half, and everything he does to the doll, it's happening to Doctor Death. Uh, just overall, this film still lives up to this day. Like I said, I enjoy it. It's one of those that I watch at least once or twice a year. I just, yeah, it's just such a classic, and it's not just because it's a horror movie. It was just so well written, and it is like I get tired of people downing horror movies, because some of these horror movies have such a good story, and like I said, dealing with the mom and Andy, man, it's such a good story. And the finale of this movie, when Chucky is chasing Andy, and his mom, nobody's believing his mom, because that scene when she holds up Chucky, and she realizes them batteries ain't in there, she drops that box, and all of a sudden she turns around, man. That is such a great tense scene. And then when she picks up Chucky and she's like, "Talk to me, dang it, or I'll throw you in the fireplace," and he just, "You stupid," and all that. Man, it's so good. It's, to this day, it gives me chills just talking about it right now. But the finale where Chucky is burnt, where Andy says the classic line when he puts him in the fireplace, and he's like, "Andy, we're friends to the end." And he's like, "This is the end, friend." And he lights that match and throws it in there. Like I said, phenomenal acting. Uh, Andy, when he's in the hospital, or it wasn't really, I guess it was a mental hospital maybe, or something for kids or whatever. But when he sees Chucky coming, he's like, "He's going to kill me. He's going to kill." And he turns around, he's just crying. Man, tugs on the old heartstrings every time. But yeah, definitely such a good movie. And if you haven't watched it in a while, go back and watch it. It's such a classic. But there's a reason why Chucky is one of the most horror icons of all time. Okay, now coming in at number one is Child's Play 2. This is my absolute favorite of the Chucky films. And I think it's because you no longer have to build up to who Chucky is or anything like that. It just kicks right off to where Chucky is doing his thing right off the bat. No explanation of how he became Chucky anymore, nothing like that. It's just balls to the wall in this movie. Um, I feel like you get the best Chucky of any of the movies. This is the best Chucky. I know a lot of people say, like, go back to the Nightmare on Elm Street, where people say a Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is the best because you get the best of Freddy Krueger as far as horror and comedy. I feel like this is Chucky's standout performance. I love the whole aspect of Andy now is getting adopted by Phil and Joanne, and he's got a stepsister now, Kyle. Kyle is an underrated. I'm just gonna say she is underrated, as far as a horror icon. I love her in this movie. I'm glad that they did bring her back in the later films, but I wish that just like Andy's mom in the first one, I wish her and Kyle could have been into the series more. But the dynamic between Kyle and Andy are phenomenal in this movie. Once again, this is another film that is well written, and it's not just based on Chucky, based on a horror movie. It has some really good plots in this movie. Um, I love the fact that even like Phil and Joanne, they are good foster parents, but they understand that this boy has trauma, he has issues, and they're trying to make it work. But I know like some people will be like, "Well, Phil was a dirtbag and all this." No, Phil's looking out for his wife and the best thing for these kids, and I think the relationship between Phil and Joanne and Kyle and Andy are all good. Um, I think they all work together really well. And to me, Phil's, I don't know why, but Phil's death scene always stood out to me the most. Especially, when Chucky trips him when he's coming down the basement because he sees Andy down there with the electric knife, and he's like, Andy, and he's trying to talk to him. He's like, give me the knife, and he's coming down, and Andy's fixing to give it to him, and all of a sudden Chucky trips him, and somehow he's got him hooked, and he falls eye level with Chucky, and Chucky's like, "How's it hanging, Phil?" And at that moment, Phil knows, okay, he's not crazy, and then boom, he just drops. Love that. Um, yeah, just a whole different environment in this film. I feel like I said, yeah, the first one dealt with the mystery of who was doing it, but this one is just bam. As soon as it kicks off, let's get this thing going. Another death scene that really sticks out to me is Miss Kettlewell's. I know that's one of the most famous death scenes, but that whole build up to where Andy's at school and Chucky finds Andy's work and he's looking, and he's like, "Where is it? Where is it? Ah, there it is." And I think he puts "FU" on it, and then Miss Kettlewell, she already rubs you the wrong way the way she acts, to where the first time she meets Andy, he's like, "Yes, Miss Cattlewell." And she's like, "Cattlewell," and he's like, "Cattlewell." She already rubs you the wrong way anyway, but she's one of those deaths where you care less if she dies or not. But I do like the fact that how Chucky kills her with the air pump to like you would pump up a ball or a bike or a basketball, something like that. But every time I watch it, I get mad because the way that she sees the paper, it says "FU," and she's like, "You think this is funny?" He's like, "I didn't do it." And then she's like, "Head down." She grabs his head, puts it down. Ain't no way I'd let somebody do that to my kid. But and then she locks Andy in the classroom. So yeah, like I said, her death scene is one of those. Like, yeah, get her out of the way. But I do like the death scene though. But I think she's one of the main ones that sticks out as far as like if anytime I ever see any clips of Chucky, they always showed that scene because when he, it's just a funny thought that all he did was push this thing and it blows her out of the closet. But then he comes out there and he's got that daggum ruler and he's just wow. I like the fact that they went back to certain things where you don't have to see every kill scene. And every time Chucky goes down with the ruler, it just the camera cuts. The camera cuts. Like I said about Child's Play and Bride of Chucky, I think the camera shots are really good in this film. Um, and of course, the finale. You can't talk about this movie without talking about the finale in the Good Guy Factory. That whole entire chase scene is in the third act of this movie is on your toes, on the edge of your seat, watching, wanting to know what's going to happen. Like I said, I feel like Chucky is at his most vicious in this movie. Uh, he does. This is the one that he kind of started popping out a little bit of the one-liners, not enough to ruin it, but uh, the whole scene where uh, the worker is there at night and he sees that on the assembly line, all these good guy dolls are all piled up. So he goes over there and he's trying to adjust it. And, it's been putting the eyes into the good guy dolls. And you can see the camera. I love that about the first and the second Child's Play movies is how the camera is looking through the eyes of Chucky. And you can see the camera kind of making its way down the way where the guy is working on the assembly line. As soon as the guy rolls over, that machine just and puts the eyeballs into the dude's eyes. Gory. This one had good effects in it. Um, and as you all know, I'm really big into the practical effects more than CGI. And of course, Chucky getting melted. That's why I have this one right here, because I love his look in this. Chucky getting melted that board, and then his hand got ripped. He rips the rest of his hand off where that gate where he was chasing um, Kyle and Andy up the conveyor belt, and he's chasing him, and that hands gets caught in the doorway, and he rips it off, and then he shoves his hand on that knife. He takes the blade and puts it in a vise, and he takes like the handle off and shoves his hand in there. Even though it's a doll, you're like, ooh, because it just looks gross. He tapes it up, and he looks all at it, and he looks bad to the bone. Like I said, it's this look right here. That's my favorite. Um, Overall, phenomenal movie. It's still my number one. Love how the fact they melt him at the end of it. Yeah, this is just one that I love this movie. That's why I just feel like I love the first one, but I just feel like this one is just action, horror, nonstop. This is one of those that as soon as you put it in, there's no boring moments. There's no spots in the movie where you're like, oh, would you hurry up? I just think the pacing in this movie is really well. I think the writing is really good in this movie. The storyline is awesome. Overall, this is, to me, the best Child's Play movie. This is the best Chucky that we have ever gotten. And after all these years, it still holds up. Well, that is my ranking of the Child's Play movies. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, as always, hit that follow button, and so you'll never miss any of my videos. Also, leave your ranking of the Child's Play films in the comments below. Tell me why or why not you agree with my ranking. And also, if you love to listen to podcasts, and if you love horror movies, you can't get enough of it, please check out my podcast with my buddy Randy. We are called Small Town Horror with Johnny and Randy, and we're available anywhere you listen to podcasts. And also, I know I'm going to be doing a video very soon of the ranking of the Friday the 13th Final Girls. I just went back not too long ago and started watching some of the Friday the 13th documentaries that I have, and I just feel like it's time for me to do my own ranking, because there are some of the females that I truly love in the Friday the 13th films, and I also want to do a ranking of maybe the top 5 or top 10 Scream Queens, like the Final Girls. I really think that'd be a fun video to do. But if you have any suggestions on what you would like to see me rank, or one specific film you want to hear me talk about, please also leave that in the comment. And as always, God bless each and every one of you. And until next time.
I'm Chucky. Wanna play?